you're a Grand Knight now, and you're finding out that there's a lot of things to do as a Grand Knight in the Knights of Columbus. Are you seeing these tasks? Are you seeing everything that's coming in through the emails? Is your website getting filled up? Now, is your email site getting filled up with all these emails and forms and places to go on the Supreme website? Are you getting overwhelmed with all this stuff? Is there people coming to you constantly with all the different things that they need to have done on their different committees? Do you have chairmen in all your committees? Are you the chairman of all your committees? Well, if you're being overwhelmed by all these tasks that you're having to do, maybe there's an answer. And we're going to discuss that right now in this video. Successful Grand Knights learn very quickly that delegating is one of their best tools as a Grand Knight of a council. You cannot do everything that's required of you in your council by yourself. You need the help of all the men in your council. There is no way you can do all this stuff yourself unless you don't have a job and you got plenty of time. It's almost impossible to do. So this is why you have 14 officers in your council. This is why you have chairmen on all your different committees and all these different directors and things you have within the council is to help you to do your job. So you got to learn how to delegate. And so I thought about what are the 5 main reasons why you should delegate off these tasks that as a Grand Knight you have. Let's go ahead and discuss those 5 reasons right now. The first reason to delegate off a lot of these tasks and roles that you have as a Grand Knight is that it helps the members of your council to grow and to develop as leaders within your council. These are the people that will someday, one of them will be a Grand Knight. They will do your job. They will be the next Grand Knight after you. If you do not delegate off these tasks and not help them learn about what it is to learn what it is to take on responsibility, well, you're going to be sitting in as a Grand Knight for a long time because nobody's going to want your job. But if you learn to delegate effectively and give it to people to do various things, learn how to fill out a form, learn how to run a committee, learn how to head a program, well, eventually they'll want more and more responsibility. And then they'll start moving up through the officer's rank. That's all a part of the reason for delegating. The first reason is to help them grow and develop their skills. The second reason to delegate is that it increases your impact and your influence on the council. It does that because within a certain day, you have 24 hours. In that 24 hours, you got to sleep, you got to eat, okay? You got to do a few other things. By the time you limit it all down, there's about 12 hours left. If you work, take 8 of those hours off, 9 hours of those, and you're left with 3 hours, maybe 4 at the most, hours a day. So in those 4 hours, you're going to try to do everything that a Grand Knight's responsible for. Not going to happen. It's not. So if you delegate off those roles and send it off to the various committees and the various officers on your council, you have a greater impact. So what you could do once, now you can do 4 or 5 times as much, maybe 10 times as much, getting them to learn how to do some of the jobs that you're responsible for. That is another reason for delegating, is to increase your impact and your influence on the council. The third reason to delegate, it makes you a more attractive Grand Knight. People want to be involved with Grand Knights and get things going, get people active, get people involved. If you're delegating them off these tasks to everybody, they all have little responsibilities and roles within the council to do. Now they're involved with what's going on. There, you don't have people sitting around going, I don't know what's going on, because they're going to be busy with their own little project that they're working with. If you get somebody on the budget committee, well, guess what? They're going to know about where all the spending of the council is going on. If you get somebody involved with the family programs, then they'll be involved with knowing how things are happening with the various family programs. All these different programs, if you get them involved with it, then they feel like they're participating and have an active voice and role in the council. You try to do all that yourself and keep it away from everybody and just call everybody out when you need them, they'll lose interest, okay? So keeping them involved by assigning everybody a task to do, and then when they finish their task, give them another task, okay? There's always things to do within the Knights of Columbus. That's another reason for delegating off tasks is to make yourself a more attractive Grand Knight. And when other people from other councils hear about your council doing so well, those nearby may even transfer to your council so they can get also involved with an active council. The fourth reason to delegate off authority and tasks off to other people in your council is that it boosts your reputation as a leader within the Knights of Columbus. On the state level, we watch all the Grand Knights. We see who are the more effective Grand Knights. We know who are the better leaders of the various councils. By delegating, you're going to be able to do more. You're going to be able to produce more. You're going to have a recruiting committee that's recruiting. You're going to have programs committees that are doing programs. You're going to be very active within your parish. Your district deputy is going to know that this council is doing great. They're on track. I can take my attention a little bit off of them and put more so on the other weaker councils. The state notices too because we see the numbers as they're coming across. We're getting the reports from the district deputies. So we also see your leadership as a Grand Knight of your council. So that's another reason for delegating is that it builds your reputation as a leader within the Knights of Columbus. The fifth reason to delegate is that it frees up your time to do greater things. If you're a Grand Knight and you feel like you're stuck being a Grand Knight, that there's nobody else who wants to be a Grand Knight in your council, your Deputy Grand Knight doesn't want to be a Grand Knight, well, you're kind of stuck in your role. You created a role that you can't get out of. But if you learn to delegate out those tasks and those various responsibilities to other people, like your Deputy Grand Knight, then they learn that they are capable of doing some of the things that you do. And then they learn that maybe it's not so hard doing your job. Very effective councils within our jurisdiction are those who delegate off lots of things off to the various chairmans, the various directors, the various officers in their councils. Their councils are very active. They recruit very well. And they also are always on top of the leaderboard within the state. Now that you've trained your team to do pretty much everything, you are freed up. Now you can find somebody that can become the next Grand Knight of the council. And that means you can take on a bigger role within the state of Nevada. You can then become a chairman, state chairman, a state director, a district deputy, a district warden. You could also become a state officer. But if you're not delegating, you're not training people to do things, well, you're stuck in your role and you can't grow within the order. So make sure you delegate off some of these tasks and many of the tasks if you can, because it helps the membership to grow. It helps them to grow personally in their personal development. It helps them to grow in their leadership ability. And eventually they start taking on the roles of the various officer seats and rise to the ranks, and they become the next and the future. They become the future Grand Knights of your council. It also helps the Knights of Columbus because you're delegating off tasks and you're training people. You're making people happy. They're making them feel like they're involved. Our retention rate rises because of the reason you're delegating. You're keeping people involved into what we do. People are excited. They want to stay in the Knights of Columbus just because you're just delegating off authority and tasks to people within your council. Very important. It helps you to grow because now you have freed up time that you can then do other things within our order. You don't always have to be a Grand Knight. You can eventually become a faithful navigator. You can become a district deputy. You become a state deputy. Or you can even move on up to Supreme and do things there. So you have to learn to delegate as part of your role as a Grand Knight of your council. So until the next time, keep on growing your council. Keep on doing those programs. Keeping your people excited and keep growing as a member of the Knights of Columbus. We'll see you on the next video.